Hello Lawn Fawn fans, this is Sandy Allnock, and actually this is my dog Sierra, and she wanted to help me shoot the video from out on the lawn, so she's taking a nap while I'm working. So we're going to show you this card today that we made with a very cute little giraffe using the die and not the stamps themselves. How fun is that? Let me show you how I did this one. So we're going to start by loading the Copic airbrush with a marker, and this is a sketch marker that fits inside, and I'm using the color Y35 to color the little background for my giraffe from the Safari set, Critters on Safari. And I left the tummy kind of white and the legs kind of white. You'll see why that matters later. And I started by drawing in the hardest part. I looked at the stamp set to try to figure out what the tail looked like so that I could draw that piece in. The rest of it is going to be pretty loose and freehand, but I wanted to make sure I got the tail right since that's sort of a nebulous little blob in the die. I am adding the spots, and what I found, I'll give you this advice so you don't have to learn from my mistake, making larger spots on the back only and not all over the entire body tends to make it look better. I originally had done tiny spots all over the whole body because giraffes really do have that spots all over them, and that didn't work at all because he looked like he had chicken pox. I'm using an E37 marker for the little things on his head and inside of his ears, and now I'm going to return to YR27 for making more spots. And I do want to do more spots in this, just not over the whole body. And the larger ones are out on the outside of the body, and then as it gets toward the inside, I'm going to do a few smaller spots so it looks like it's just going to slowly trail out. That tends to look a little more giraffe-like, even though giraffes really do generally have spots all over the place. I'm using the original color that I airbrushed with to make the back legs. So I just drew those back in so we didn't have blobs with two toes for legs. And I'm drawing in eyes and two nostrils. For the card assembly, I'm going to put this panel onto the card base, but I want to start by assembling everything on here. I used the Lawn Fawn grass die, which is a long skinny die. I just got this one and I'm so excited because I'm going to use it a ton. And I airbrushed that one little piece so it's a little bit darker because I'm going to put another piece in front of it. Each one of these brads was put in at about 1 inch from the top, and this is a 4-inch tall panel, so there's going to be a little of the card base showing through. But these brads are 1 inch from the top, and I'm shoving my twine, not very gracefully, through there. That's going to allow me to have some flexibility in the location of that twine as I start gluing things on top of it. I'm not going to use any adhesive specifically for the twine because all these pieces are going to hold it down. I'm using Tombow power tabs, which are kind of like glue dot-ish things, but better. I really like them a lot. Look them up if you don't know what they are. They're really awesome. And I'm using one of those behind his head to stick down part of that twine. And I'm going to use the same thing on the clouds so that they're going to all hold that twine in place. I'm going to use power tabs again on the second strip, and this one is not colored dark so that it will look like it's in front of the other piece of grass. And now he's in a little safari on the Serengeti with a whole field full of grass. And now the clouds that are going to hang on here, I'm putting the power tabs on the back of those again and kind of nudging them right up against that twine so that the edge of that power tab is going to hold that twine in place. We've got another step coming that's going to even secure them further. And you can hang the clouds kittywampus like this if you want, whatever way you wish. And to create little clothespins, I love those little clothespins in the craft store, but these will not kind of pop off the card if you put it in the mail. So it's just another alternative. And what I'm doing is putting a little piece of glossy accents, a little tiny drop, underneath of the top of the cloud and one on top of the cloud. And then I'm shoving the back one underneath into that glossy accents dot. And I'm going to put the front one on top of it and squish it down just a little bit. But that makes these look like little clothespins without having the bulk of those manufactured clothespins on there. And the card is all finished. I think it came out really cute. And whoever thought that you'd have a clothesline full of clouds out in the Serengeti? I wanted to show you a few cards that don't use Copic coloring on the dies, because you don't have to Copic color in order to make them cute. This particular one was really fun to do. I used pink and blue cardstock along with the green cardstock for the grass. And I followed the stamp set in order to draw the eyes on there and the little nose. You can see on the little baby bunny's ear, I just used a little trim with scissors, so you can even do that to create the look of what the stamp set had in it instead of drawing it in there. On this card, I got out my dog park die set and some watercolor paper, and I cut the dog out, and then I got distress markers and my water brush out, and I watercolored him. How much fun is that? So you can use all different kinds of techniques to create cards with just your dies. If you would like to see more about using dies without stamps, click right here. Yeah, look right here, and you can go over and see the dinosaur card over on my channel. Take care, you guys. Talk to you later. Bye now.